Imagine being able to rewatch your favorite TV show with your best friend, who has literally never seen an episode before. That's our premise, and what we hope will set us apart from the other Office podcasts you may have stumbled across. So welcome to Bears Beats Bobbleheads, Talkin Office, the podcast where three brave souls discuss every episode of The Office, from pilot to finale, and we get a fresh reaction from someone who has just watched the episode for the very first time in their life only hours before. Enjoy the show. Welcome to Bears Beats Bobbleheads Talking Office, and we are talking Season 2, Episode 8, Performance Review. This episode was first aired November 15th, 2005, and it's written by Mr. Brown, Larry Wilmore, directed by Paul Feig. All right, let's start the episode, gentlemen, as we always do, by giving our favorite moment from the episode. Joe, kick us off, saw?
It's my favorite moment is again, I love these like little things, but it's Michael's doing the suggestion box meeting, and one of the suggestions is just says coffee breath. And Angela like brings up the fact that he talks like really close to her, and then like a few minutes later, like Jan just affirms it, like, yeah, you have coffee breath.
All right, so Michael's coffee breath. My favorite moment in the episode is also a smaller moment, I guess you could say. It's when Dwight is getting his performance review, obviously the distraction of Michael obsessively wanting to talk to Jan about their relationship or lack thereof, and Dwight suggests that they get some deer jerky because it's an aphrodisiac, and Michael asks Jan, you want to do it? Should we do it? Like, genuinely asks her if she wants to go along with this idea. Oh man, it's so Michael. Anyway, Paul, why don't you tell us, first time you've ever seen performance review, what was your favorite moment?
So the cold open was going to have it. However, Stanley gets it because
on the ghetto.
On the ghetto. And then he goes, it's all about my bonus.
Oh, yeah, that was a definite runner-up for me, too. It's funny, I don't think we've ever picked the same moment in any episode so far. That's kind of crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought one of you two was going to pick the same one. I really did, because
I thought Joe was, because Stanley's like his favorite character.
Oh, I loved it. It was close up, but I had it in my notes, and then the coffee breath got brought up, and I was like, oh, I got it. I'm dying here from that.
I think it's just a testament to how great of a show it is that there are just so many great moments that, we still haven't rested on one that, even two of us have picked a duplicate. So that's pretty cool. All right, let's start talking about performance review. In the cold open, as Paul, you alluded to, Dwight is obnoxiously bouncing on and talking up his new fitness orb. Jim puts an end to that, Paul.
Oh, fuck. So can I say I work with a guy that had an office orb? And oh my God, it drove me fucking nuts.
Was he a Dwight?
No, he was a nice kid.
It seems to be more like it'd be like a new agey thing, and Dwight is not a new agey type guy.
Yeah, no, he was a nice kid.
Fun fact for that scene, by the way, is when that scene was scripted, it was expected that when he stabbed it, it would just deflate, that it wouldn't pop. So Rainn Wilson falling down there suddenly was not what was expected to happen. Well,
can I say, okay, so if I had turned the volume up, I don't know if it's the camera guy or someone with a mic, but you hear someone go, what? like you hear someone like off, like totally, I'm like, dude, the camera guy is laughing. You hear someone laughing and say what? Like one of the camera people. Yeah, I had to go back and listen to it a couple times. Like, that's a camera guy.
Well, that explains that they are all caught off guard because that's not what was supposed to happen.
So funny.
We learn it's performance review day company-wide, and Pam gives us some insight into Michael's review style, Joe.
Oh, God. So her performance review last year started with Michael asking her about her hopes and dreams, and ended with him bragging about how he can bench 190. Jesus Christ.
This year, instead of giving actual reviews, Michael is more interested in his employees giving their take on a voicemail Jan left him that morning. Paul, what is your take on Jan's voicemail?
Oh my God. So, hey Michael, I must have missed you, or I must have, yeah, something like that.
I must have missed you.
I must have missed you. Yes. And he's thinking there's some kind of lines there, and oh Jesus Christ. It's poor Jan, the whole office, it's like just knows what's going on. Holy fuck. How does Michael keep a job?
In recounting how a relationship with Jan was seemingly not in the cards, Michael states that when people say something is mutual, it never is. But this was mutual, Joe.
God. He has this whole thing in his head here with what happened with Jan. Like, Jan's, as we find out, just kind of, she's horrified by it. And, he's got such a bad take on it. And then, and I love because he's asking Pam, and then Pam's like, I don't think it is what you think it is. And he's like, oh, now I'm in a bad mood. All right, let's do your performance review. To which Pam immediately starts spinning her wheels like, oh, no.
Yeah, I think you see that. I mean, anybody could have just told him straight out, and she tried, and we'll probably revisit that a bit, but she tried. Anybody could have, but a lot of them were just humoring him because they know Michael well enough to know you got to tell him what he wants to hear, and he's clearly convinced himself. I like to think of Michael as an obsessive romantic. Like, he romanticizes things and then won't let it go, or is blind to any other possibilities of what things might mean.
Yeah, and we're seeing this especially with this here with Jan, like this one-sided relationship in Michael's brain.
In an attempt at sabotage, Dwight encourages Jim to suggest the company stock up on more double-tabbed manila file folders in his review, Paul.
God, we don't have those. And it's just Dwight turns back to the camera and gives us an evil grin. Jesus Christ.
It's just funny too, because Jim fucking with Dwight is such a standard of the show that this is one time where Dwight tries fucking with Jim and does it so poorly.
Yes.
And Jim ends up fucking with him, be like, I'm actually going to ask for a pay decrease.
Yep. Well, what happens when you get it? Then I win.
So it's Thursday, but Jim learns that Dwight thinks it's Friday, and that's what Jim will be working on that afternoon, Joe.
This is one of my favorite pranks of the show. We learn later that Dwight's not in his full self because he went out drinking with his paintball buddies the night before, and it just kind of discombobulated him to thinking it's Friday. So yeah, I love this prank. It's one of those ones that's like, it's believable. I could see somebody actually doing this. Some of them get a little over the top, but this one's, I love it.
It's organic too. Like, Dwight serves it up on a silver platter. Like, it came out of nowhere. So yeah, it's different than ones where they conjure up an idea and then they prank them. This one just kind of fell on Jim's lap.
Yeah, and again, I have to go with Joe. This was an amazing prank, and it is so believable. It is absolutely here's some. I mean, we've all had that, right? Where we all thought it was a day it wasn't, and that, how easy of a prank would that have been if someone had said to us, "God, you said that to us," and instead of correcting them, we just went, "Yeah."
It is Friday. You're absolutely right. It's Friday.
Yeah, that would have been brilliant.
All right, so going to Paul's favorite scene of the episode. For Stanley, it's all about the bonus, Paul.
About the bonus. Did you learn about that on the streets? I'm sorry. No, it's okay. I did learn about it on the streets. On the hood, in fact.
On the ghetto.
On the ghetto, in fact. Really? Yeah, because it's the pauses. It's what they don't say that makes it mean something.
Angela really enjoys being judged, Paul.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, and she doesn't get it. She and was it she was in beauty pageants as a kid?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And she thinks she's get this review, and then Jan calls, and nope, you had a satisfactory. We had what was it? Satisfactory year, and just leaves her there.
You were adequate, I think.
Yeah,
you were completely adequate.
You're completely adequate this year, and then slams the door in her face.
Jan calls Michael, and we found out she is en route to give Michael his performance review, and that will be the only topic of discussion. But Michael adamantly wants to talk about their, as he puts it, meeting in the parking lot of the Chili's. And Jan very much does not want to talk about the meeting in the parking lot at the in the Chili's parking lot, Paul.
Oh, God. Yeah, she wants nothing to have with this, and Michael is just pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. I have to admit, I had to pause this episode a couple times because it was really cringy, Michael's behavior.
Okay. Kevin heard that they made out and had sex, Joe.
Yeah. This is how office gossip quickly spreads and then just totally bends the actual story. It just takes Kevin saying he's heard that, even though he probably didn't. And I like how Oscar is immediately like, no, they just made out. What are you talking about?
And then he repeats it. I heard they made out and had sex.
No, but I heard they made out and had sex. All right, with that, let's go to our first break. But we will come back with, more performance reviews as we cover Season 2, Episode 8, Performance Review, here on Bears Beats Bobblehead Talking Office. We'll be right back. If you're enjoying our Office podcast, be sure to check out Cast That Movie, the podcast where Paul and I, using our superhero aliases, revisit failed cinematic projects from the past. We discuss what went wrong, and then we try to fix the mess by going back in time and recasting the project with a cast we feel would have elevated the material. We also assign a new director/visionary. Because you can never have too much of a good thing, we also conjure up a dream project of something we would like to see made into a film, and we cast that as well. So find Cast That Movie on Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, or at our home at thejoedown.blog. Welcome back to Bears Beats Bobbleheads Talking Office. We are talking Season 2, Episode 8, Performance Review. And we return to the action. Michael, realizing he might want to bring something of substance to his own review, asks Pam about the suggestion box, Joe.
Yeah, the suggestion box that she's pretty sure she kind of remembers when she first got hired. Like, nobody uses it. Michael just randomly remembered it existed and wants to have a meeting, the suggestion box meeting. But it's also he can have some ideas to bring to his performance review, and God forbid he actually think up his own ideas to give during his performance review.
Oh, God.
Originality is not Michael's strong suit.
No, he's good at taking others' ideas and running with it for sure. Moving on, Michael encourages everyone to put their constructive compliments into the suggestion box, Paul.
Yeah, but there was comments in the suggestion box that hasn't been used in years. But go ahead.
I was going to say, but constructive compliments.
Oh, yes. Don't you mean constructive criticism? What did I say? I have to admit, I had a giggle because the version, I don't know if it was on your guys' or what, but instead of it saying Ryan's name on it, it said temp.
Oh, for subtitles.
For subtitles, yep, for the subtitles. So they say Ryan's name, is said temp.
All right. Michael greets Jan as she finally arrives, and it is a lot, Joe.
Oh, God, he's trying to like touch her and hug her, and she's just like visibly just disturbed by it. And it gets to the point where she literally says, "Please don't smell me, Michael." because he's bringing up her perfume. Like,
Yeah, Paul, what about your take on just that whole? I mean, you've kind of teased at it, but like the whole him prying and her just visibly uncomfortable and wanting none of it.
It's so just like I said. I had to pause it a couple times this episode, a couple times because it was so cringy. Yeah, it's almost like it's the emotions of a fucking 15-year-old. You know, I mean, I think, you know, I mean, we've all seen that. I think in the hallway in high school,
Mm-hmm.
like that conversation, but not in an office when you're in your 30s, almost 40s. Yeah, it was really painful.
It's time for the suggestion box meeting, Paul. Let's talk about what went down there, shall we?
Oh God. Can we talk about the suicide
We've covered
first?
the coffee breath.
Yeah. Holy fuck.
Yeah,
Come
let's
on.
do that. Tom was his name. He worked in accounting up until about a year ago. I've seen theories. I don't know if this has ever been confirmed by Greg Daniels or anybody else involved in the show. But the theory is the reason why they were picked to have a documentary made about them is because an employee committed suicide on the premises. I don't know if it was on the premises, but one of their employees committed suicide, so it was going to be a documentary on office work and I guess the depression pitfalls that might be found within. And then of course, it's Michael Scott and company, and they're funny. But anyway, that's what I've read, and that could just be a fan theory. I don't know. I didn't look into it very deeply, but Joe, have you heard anything about that regarding the suicide and that leading to the reason why they were the chosen place for the documentary?
I've read about it, but I seriously doubt it. Because if that was the case, Michael's parting words about this man is, "Oh, that guy, he was weird."
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't imagine that would be the reason why.
Yeah. Okay. Well, again, it's probably just a fan. We'll learn and we'll bring them up here and there, but there are a ton, especially in some of the later seasons with some of the plot points, a ton of fan theories that are around, as there is with a lot of cult following shows. But anyway, all right. So I guess I'm with you guys. Probably no, that one does not hold water. So we'll move past it. But I thought the whole infers implies debate, and then Creed kind of getting slapped down by Michael, because talk about stank.
Take the stairs. Take the stairs, Creed.
Can we also bring up the fact that the suggestion box meeting was the first question after Michael's like, "Yeah, I read these every week." The first question is, "What should we do to prepare for Y2K?"
And then,
It's one of those letters that just gets stuck in there,
and Dwight has to read everything loudly that he said. Like,
Yeah, or repeat it. Yep.
Yes.
Going back to the infers implies bit. So that was all about BO, right? That was, do something about your BO, I think was the suggestion. And Michael, played it off like it wasn't about him. And then Toby, of course, points out that aren't these meant for you? And just the way Michael talks to him in that moment, if you are implying that I am the one with BO, just with gritted teeth. So it's another great Michael Toby moment there.
Oh, poor Toby. Poor Toby. The brunt of Michael's rage.
All right, and then we have our final suggestion from the suggestion box. Don't sleep with your boss.
Shit.
And it all goes downhill from there.
Yeah, everything just explodes at that point.
You think this is inferring you sleeping with Jan?
Or implying.
Yeah, that was I was like, oh God. Again, how does Michael keep a job, you guys? I don't understand it.
Well, we know he keeps a job. We saw that last episode because he's a great paper salesman. But how does he keep this job? That's a fair question.
How does he keep this job?
With the help of Motley Crue, Dwight pumps himself up in the stairwell to prepare for his review, Joe.
Yeah, I love that. He's just like, not only is he listening to Motley Crue, he's doing like weird his karate moves, which I'm pretty sure aren't real. I don't know how he got that purple belt, but
we had theories on that when we talked about the fight. It just kind of he failed his way upwards to a purple belt.
He failed up to a purple belt.
Oh, and then he follows us up by storming in on Michael and Jan for his performance review. Like, wow, like we always talk about Michael not being able to read the room, but Dwight's pretty close with that on that level.
Yeah. But give him credit, he came very prepared. He had graphs and everything. He had a great reason, why he should be getting a raise. He just happened to be talking to Michael in the one moment that he was unable to even give him the slightest bit of focus until the deer jerky came up. And that was basically it. So, yeah, that was a little painful because Dwight really was lobbying hard and he was getting nothing back from Michael.
Well, he's like, your performance was adequate. And then he's like, I want a pay raise. And Michael responds, why on earth would we give you a raise?
But Jan goes, is this how you handle all your reviews? Okay, third wheel, go ahead.
Oh, man. Jim and Pam discuss Jan and Michael in the break room. And it gets kind of mean, in my opinion. How do you come back from sleeping with Michael, I think is what Jan says. Joe, do you agree that the two of them kind of went a little mean girls, a little overboard there in discussing the Michael-Jan thing?
And this is I'll probably bring it up as we go along in the show. Like, there's times where I think Jim and Pam, they're pretty mean-spirited. It's and again, we'll get into it as it becomes more, at least in my perspective, because it really, like, after rewatching the series a couple times, I really just kind of, my love for Jim and Pam has dwindled. As I said when we started this, my favorite characters are Stanley and Reed. So
the ones on the fringes.
Yeah, the fringe characters.
Because they're true to their character, yeah. I mean, yeah, Jim and Pam they're trying to flesh them out as real people, and real people are not always good, and they're capable of doing shit like this, of course. And this isn't the first time. Remember, during the fire episode, they were messing with Dwight, and as I think you put it, punching down to Dwight. So yeah, we've seen now. This is a couple instances where their likability takes a little bit of a hit. What about you, Paul? What was your observation with that scene?
I don't want to think about Michael having sex. I kind of was with them. I know this sounds mean, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, yeah, I don't want to know about the character Michael having sex and what that would entail. I'm thinking a lot of crying and ice cream.
See, I'm the opposite, Paul. I want to know. I like Michael having sex.
No, I think there's crying and ice cream involved, you guys. I really do. I just no. I'm sorry. I'm with Pam and Jim on this one. I'll punch down on that.
Fair enough. Fed up, Jan tells Michael she is leaving and that they will do his review by phone when she gets back to New York. Michael follows Jan to the elevator, pleading with her to talk to him about their meeting in the parking lot at Chili's, Paul.
Oh, yeah, and then she just lets him have it, and the whole office is hearing it. Mm-hmm. And everything's going over his head until she flips it around. She sells him, finally, understands. She finally clicks with him, and then that's all you want to hear was that he was a nice guy, and that she wasn't ready.
Yeah, she also said he was stupid and obnoxious, and he does, in fact, have coffee breath. But the only takeaway he takes is the compliment.
Yep. To which Angela smirks when she's finally, somebody else agreed on the coffee breath.
Dwight, who claimed during his review that he had never missed a day of work, was late to work the very next day. Jim and Pam succeeded, Joe.
Never miss a day, my ass.
Yep. I'm here.
It's such a great payoff to it's like a slow burn prank, and it's almost like you kind of forget that the prank's happening. They have little moments throughout the episode, but we're more kind of paying attention to Michael and Jan because that's the oh my god in the room, and then they just pay off with that.
All right, I think that does it. I think we covered everything we need to cover for Season 2, Episode 8 performance review. But we are going to come back, and we are each going to give who we felt won the episode as well as our general take on the episode. And then we will find out if Paul still considers Jim to be his favorite character and still considers The Fight to be his favorite episode to date. We'll be right back to Bears Beats Bobbleheads Talking Office.
Hi, this is Paul Muad'Dib, one half of Podcast Above a Convenience Store Talkin' Twin Peaks, which I work on with Joseph Fremming, who's also on the podcast that you're listening to right now. We go through all of Twin Peaks, Season 1, Season 2, the movie, the books. Right now we're digging into Season 3, which will end the podcast with the final dossier, which was the last book that was put out by Mark Frost, putting a cap on everything that's happened in the Twin Peaks universe. So please, check us out. You can find us on the joedown.blog with everything else on here. You can find us on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify. There's no reason why you don't want to listen.
Welcome back to Bears Beats Bobbleheads Talking Office, and we are finishing up Season 2, Episode 8, Performance Review. All right, time to list who we thought won the episode, and as well as give kind of a general takeaway from the episode. Joe, get us started, please.
Yeah, I really like this episode. It's our kind of like entry into the world of Michael and Jan's dynamic. Mm-hmm. But I'm giving the win of this episode to Jim because that's a fantastic prank.
I'm going to agree with you, actually. I think I'm going to give it to Jim, too. I mean, aside from the one scene I didn't like, which I think was more Pam in that scene anyway, I felt she went a little overboard. But aside from that, yeah, it's another Jim Pam prank, and it is one of the better ones, like you guys said. And just also the exchange with the manila file folders and then, saying he's asking for a pay decrease, just it makes me laugh every time, that whole sequence there. So, and yeah, this episode is solid. It's not one of my favorites. It doesn't have a whole lot of big laughs in it. But once again, it's advancing the ball on fleshing out these characters, including side characters. Stanley gets a big laugh. Things like that. Kevin gets a laugh. So it's a successful episode, again, advancing the ball, but it's not a milestone in my book. Paul, what about you?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Jim. Again, the prank is great. He called up his buddy. Fake calls up his buddy to set up the lunch with him for Saturday.
Because tomorrow is Saturday.
So it's Saturday. Yeah, Jim won the episode, and yeah, this one was there was things I laughed at, but it wasn't as. I mean, I felt the previous episode, The Client, was better than this one. But yeah, I do again like how we're getting more and more glimpses. I feel like the writing and including these side characters is I like that, as you said, moving the ball on the side characters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and speaking of that, we got a little bit of time left. I just want to kind of touch base on some of the side characters, and I'm going to assume Jim is still your favorite character since he won the episode, and yes. The Fight is still your favorite because this wasn't even as good as The Client in your book, so there's no drama there. But as far as some of the side characters, you really like Creed's coming out. He hasn't done a whole lot since, but. What are a couple side characters that you kind of got your eye on?
Kevin. Again, The Fight. Sweep the leg.
Sweep the leg.
Sweep the leg. And I heard they made out and had sex. So yeah, he was Mr. Incredible on Halloween. Yeah, I think Kevin. I really want to see more Kevin. And again, Stanley in that episode on the ghetto. Those are two that I kind of got my eye out for. And I feel like Phyllis. I think she's going to be comedy gold at some point. I really do.
All right, I think that does it for Performance Review, Season 2, Episode 8 of The Office. And we will be back next week, and we will be covering Season 2, Episode 9, Email Surveillance, one of my favorite. I would venture to say one of my favorite of the series. Until then, that's Joe, that's Paul, I'm Scott, and this is Bears Beats Bobbleheads Talking Office. We'll be back next week. Please join us. For listen to more podcasts like this one and general pop culture tomfoolery, be sure to visit thejowdown.blog. That's thejowdown.blog.